I hate editing videos. Sometimes it takes me 5 hours, sometimes 10, sometimes a week, way too long. So I figured out how to do it with AI, and it only cost me $5. Right now, this tech is brand spanking new, but in 6 months' time, the people who understand how to do this sort of thing are just going to be levels beyond where everyone else is. So in this video, I'm going to show you the blueprint of how I did it, so you can start building it for yourself. I'm also going to show you exactly what I plan on doing in order to make it better, faster, cheaper, and stronger in the months to come, so you can edit with AI and reap the rewards. Enjoy. So this video, it's not going to be a tutorial on how to use these tools, but I really recommend you have a look and get familiar with these ones. Firstly, an agent interface, so something like Claude Code or OpenCode. I use OpenCode a lot. I really love it. The next thing I had was something to help me design workflows. So there's this thing called the BMAD method. It's really amazing for making step-by-step instructions for your agents to follow, which is really important in video editing. And the next one is actually the video editing framework that you can use in order for your agent to be able to cut and to edit and to make lovely captions and all these different things. There's this software called Remotion, and Remotion has these things called skills, which will basically help your agent know exactly how it should edit in your editing interface, such as OpenCode. So what I'm going to be going through today is really talking about cutting a lot. How do you actually get AI to cut a video correctly and in a good way? So we're going to talk about cutting, adjusting, and this should actually be cutting policy. I don't know why I did a typo over there. I'll get to that in a minute. Then you've got enhancements, so putting on captions, B-roll, things like that. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about rendering as well. So the first thing we should really discuss is how does an AI understand the video? So if you just use text, then that's all it's going to know, right? So that is the first step. I would say the first thing you should do is try to get your AI to understand the text in the video. And one of the best ways to do that is with a transcript, to get a transcript. The next way is through images, like taking snapshots of different sections, which is something I've been playing around with a lot and getting used to. Another one is voice. I honestly haven't started with voice yet, but I think that's a really good addition. And then you've also got video or scene understanding. So it really depends on the video you're trying to make, how important these different elements are. For the videos that I'm making, which are basically me just talking to a camera and showing some stuff on a screen, I've gotten decent results with transcript, but I'm also using image snapshots as well, which I'll show in this video. A really good model to use for this is Gemini. So I think I have the docs over here. Yeah, so Gemini has image, video, audio understanding, as well as text, obviously. So the tools are there. That's what I'm trying to get at here, is that the ability to connect these tools in order to edit your videos, it all exists, right? It's just about how you implement it and use it, which is what I want to show today. The first thing I want to talk about is video cutting. So what I have is just a little pipeline of the main areas or the most important things related to cutting. There are a couple things I left out. Like, for example, in the video, we copy the video from a certain directory and we put it into our workspace using OpenCode. But the main gist of it is the first step you want to do is get the transcript. So in OpenCode, I have a skill that is an assembly AI transcript skill. And what this does is it tells OpenCode exactly how to first extract the audio from the video, and then how to upload the audio to Assembly AI for it to be processed into a transcript. And then he goes and polls for when it's ready. And then he pulls the video from Assembly AI back into the workspace. So that's how we get the transcript. Once we have the transcript, I have this thing called a cutting policy. And you can make this whatever you want. I'm not going to say mine because my AI might get the wrong impression and say that I want to stop the segment here. But what it is, it's basically a way for you to describe what the bits you want to keep in are and what the bits that you want to remove from the video are. So basically where you want to cut it to know that you have the good sections. So this could be really anything you want. I've just tried to use this way of doing it because I found that that's the easiest for a language model to understand. You could use a really powerful model and just say something like, oh, remove all the bits where I start slurring and editing my speech and blah, 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 blah. It probably won't cost you $5 if you do that, because he'll have to go through the transcript a lot and it might be fairly expensive, but you get the idea. You have a policy that you make that allows him to find the bits of the transcript that you want to keep and the ones that you want to throw out. So after that, once you have the transcript and the cutting policy, you ask him to chop the transcript in the way that you've described. And what he'll end up doing is creating a bunch of sections. So I've basically made another skill that tells him how to cut the transcript and then divide it into sections and give me descriptions for sections. So in this example here, we have the intro, and then you have like an introduction, a walkthrough. Well, this is just showing off the thing, and then a walkthrough, and then a call to action. I also have a description in mind as well, so which is very useful for later on in the editing process. But what you'll have is you'll have the text transcript over here, and then you'll have the word level. And what this is really good for is that you want to know exactly when you said the word, when the word started, and when the word ended, because that tells the model exactly where he should cut in the video. He really needs the numbers. He needs to know exactly when. So once you have that, once you've got the transcript sections, then what I do is I tell him to use the Remotion skill to basically create the software or the code in the repository that relates to the sections I want to keep. So he does that, and then afterwards we have a cut video, which is the result of all that process. There would be a very good chance that if you go through this section, he might not get it right. So in that case, you might have to talk to him and say things like, hey, you cut me off when I said like and subscribe. And then he'll basically, the agent will look at the transcript sections and he'll say like and subscribe. You might not even have to say CTA if you have this kind of setup where you've kind of broken into sections and descriptions. He'll know from like and subscribe that you're probably talking about the CTA. And that's really why I try to break into sections. It's easier for him to find stuff. So once he's done that, he's going to kind of look at this section and he's going to be like, oh, right, yeah, I did cut you off. Oh, that's not good. And then he might extend the section by a certain amount of time. You can also describe to him like, hey, it's about 200 milliseconds cut too short. Or maybe he left one of the like key marker words in or something. And you can really just describe to him what the problem was, and then he'll adjust it as well. Now, once he's done that, this is a bit of a manual process, which is a little bit annoying. So what I try to do is have an improvement cycle. And the way that I do that for cutting is I say, given what we discussed in the conversation, how could I update my cutting policy so that next time we won't have to go through this situation again? And what that does is it's trying to shrink the cutting time, right? Because the better the policy can be, and the more descriptive it can be, the better the cutting's going to be on the first time around. So it's really an iterative process. Like the first time you edit with AI, it's going to take a long time. And then the next time it's going to be a little bit less and a little bit less if you try to improve and iterate on this process. So after you've told him like, hey, can we update the policy that we have? Then he might say something like this. He might add like leave an extra 0.2 seconds after the final word in the section, and that'll enable the next time around to be a lot quicker. Okay, so now I want to talk about visual enhancement. So this is really talking about things like text overlays, captions, B-roll, like things that you want to place in the video at a certain time. And you want it to be positioned in a certain way. You want it to start at a certain time, end at a certain time, and you need it positioned in a certain way. Maybe you need animations, like all this kind of stuff. The biggest challenge that I went through that I'd love to share is that the first thing I tried was something like this, where I'll get the transcript sections and I'll just tell him something like, could you add this animation and these captions when I say a certain word or a certain phrase. in the actual video. And he'll do that. He'll put the text in, and it'll show up. It might be animated in a certain way, and we'll end up with a video that has the captions in it. But I noticed that the captions weren't very good, and generally it's like it's going to be over my face, or it's going to be like in an awkward position. The animations look bad, or like like for example, it might be too far to the left. When the words come out, it's going to like jump all over the place, something like that. And that's just basically a result of him not being able to see what he's doing. Like if you just use the transcript, then he's going to just pretty much guess where to put it, and you're going to have this process where you're going to be like, oh no, it's covering my face. He's going to try again, and then you can say, no, it's still bad. And he's like, okay, what about now? And it's going to go on forever, basically. Like, you're not going to be able to get it right, or you might get it right, but it's going to take you an hour to try to just position the text. And I went through this problem the first time I tried this, and it was very frustrating. So the thing that I did in order to solve this is I did a couple things. The first thing is that I added a captions and style guide. I actually did this after I was iterating and playing around for ages to try to get the right kind of text captions that I liked. Obviously, I'm not a video editor, so I'm sure there's people that can come up with much better things than me. But basically what this is just a prompt, and it has things like the style that you want the captions to be in, the font and the way they appear. Like, do they appear word by word? Do they appear in like big blocks? Where do they appear on the screen? Things like that. You want to kind of create this blueprint that you can give to the model, so that when he's making these captions, he can really understand exactly how you want it positioned, how you want them to come out, all these sort of different things. The second thing that I added was font library. So you can install a font library with Remotion, and that allows you to inject the font that you like into the system, and you can play around with whatever fonts you like depending on the video that you're trying to make. So that's the first step. So you'll say to him something like, I want to put the some kind of animated style when I say a certain word or a certain phrase. And he's going to do that. But because he hasn't seen anything yet, the area that the captions are in might still be really poorly placed. So what I have after that is I have kind of like a feedback iteration loop. And what this is something that will pretty much cycle over itself. So you have your agent, and what your agent does is you equip it with a skill that is like a image capture. So I use the model Gemini because Gemini is really good with image understanding. I think I used Flash 3.0 for this. But pretty much what I'll do is get my my agent over here to send the image, or even multiple images. Like if you want to get like a certain sequence to see how the animation comes out, you tell him, okay, can you take 3, 4, 5 screenshots of when the animation is coming out and describe to me the positioning of the text? Like, is it obscuring anything? How does the size look? Is it positioned correctly? You can get him to describe it exactly how you want it. And your agent is going to create this prompt and send it to a Gemini model. He's going to take the screenshots, he's going to look at it, and he's going to bring back a really, really descriptive message. Like this one's really, really small. Usually the messages are like really big. Like it could be a paragraph or two about what's happening in the image. And when you do that, then your agent in your terminal is going to look at that and be like, oh my God, I've, stuffed it up. The captions are like, obscuring the face or whatever. He's going to realize. And then what he's going to do is he's going to update the code. And then what he's going to do is continue the cycle. He's going to be like, okay, how about now? And he's going to ask the prompt again, and then it's going to go back and he's going to say, okay, maybe it's still obscuring. You need to try this. And he's going to go through this iteration cycle. I should put like an arrow over here just to show. So this is really like a cycle where he's constantly iterating by himself, and you don't have to be there to say, oh no, this looks really bad or this isn't working. He's just going to do it himself because he's going to use Gemini to get the description of what's happening, and then he's going to update the code, then he's going to check again. And he's basically going to do this until he gets it right. And I was super impressed when I did this the first time. I thought it was amazing. It's a really good solution if you want to get the captions and text right, especially if you know exactly where you want them to be in the video through the caption style guide. This process works really well. So I highly recommend that you set up something like this in order to speed up the enhancement process in the videos. And once he's done that, once he's satisfied and is like, okay, it's not obscuring the face and it's in the right position, then he's going to send a message to you and say, hey, check it out. How does it look? And it's going to be a lot better than if you went through this process over here. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of the video editing is rendering. So you can actually render the video in your workflow. I've learned the hard way that it's not as easy as just telling him to render because the Remotion skill tells him how to render on the local machine. If you have like a big computer and a massive GPU and, you know, maybe you can do it really fast, but I have a little laptop and the rendering time was like 3 hours or something. It was just crazy, okay? So I found a way to do it in literally a couple minutes, which allows you to do it in your workflow. It is a bit complicated to set up. So I'm not going to explain it in this video, but I have a video over here that you can click on and you can view it, and it explains to you how to set up AWS and how to set up Lambda functions so that you can use Remotion to render your videos in the cloud. And all you have to do after that is you have to set it up, and then you have to build a skill that allows your agent to know how to render the videos using Lambda, Remotion Lambda. And then when it comes time to rendering in your workflow, the step to render, you specifically instruct him to use this rendering style instead of using the local rendering. And that way you'll be able to render the video in a couple minutes and it'll be ready. Which is pretty impressive and pretty amazing. I think on average, like the rendering cost for this was like 20 cents to 40 cents. So if that's okay with you, then I recommend this because it saves you from having to do it on your machine and eat up your time. So the last thing I want to talk about is really just about the process. So this is really new technology. So the first time you do this, it's going to take a while. And the second time you do it, if you try to learn from the mistakes of the workflow, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So I've used the BMAD method, which I mentioned before, and this one, typically the BMAD method is used for developing software with agents, but they do have a method in there called the BMAD method builder, and that is what I used to make this editing workflow. And what it does is it basically creates a step-by-step instructions for your agent where you have to, first he has to go and copy the video over, then he has to extract the audio, then he has to get the transcript, and it really structures things. So he goes through this process. And because it's really structured, what you can do is you can run the workflow, and then after it runs, you can say like, okay, where did it go wrong? Like what happened? Why did it get stuck on this thing? Why did this section take up so many tokens and cost so much money? Why was there so much back and forth in this section that really bothered me, right? Like I went through a couple of examples up above about the cutting and the captions, but there could be many different sections where it gets things wrong. And what you want to do is you want to log and capture all of that. You want to make sure that you're taking notes about how the workflow is going, because when you take those notes, then what you can do is you can iterate. You can ask another agent to improve it in some way. And the ways you can improve it are you can build skills that make it easier for your agent to do certain things. So I've done that a lot. Like I built the Remotion rendering skill. I built the skill of how it can iterate over the video, taking screenshots so that it can place the captions correctly. And I'm going to continue making skills, right? Like my goal is I want this video editing process to take like ideally 10 minutes. I don't think it's going to get that low this quickly, but if it took me half an hour, right, and it's pretty autonomous, I'd be super happy. So that's my goal. That's what I'm going to be working towards. And in the next couple months, that's where it's going to be. But yeah, you can look at skills. You can also look at improving your style guide. So if you have really, really good description of exactly how you do things and how you want them in your video, you can go through the run and you can update the style guide based on the conversations you had with your model. You can update the cutting policy, like I mentioned before. You want to try to get that as good as possible, so you're not spending that many steps on cutting the video and adjusting it. And then also what you can do is actually improve the workflow steps. So I went through two or even three processes now where the steps were wrong. Like I was trying to render the audio too early and I was running into all these issues, and there's a million different things that can go wrong in the workflow. And it's just because, you don't know how to optimize it. And I didn't know how to optimize it. I was just trying things out and seeing. But it's an iterative process. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that every single time you run the workflow and then you capture the improvements, you improve the workflow and all the things associated with the workflow, you run it again, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And then after that, eventually you're going to have a pretty much autonomous or semi-autonomous AI video editor. And how cool is that? I mean, that's, feels like the future, right? But at least for me, I'm not a video editor. So this is like a dream of mine, is to have that there, because it just frees me up with a lot more time. I can produce more content. I can work on other things in my business. And yeah, I really recommend that you look into this technology now, because right now it's early, but in 6 months' time, I think this is how all video editing, or at least a huge majority of video editing, is going to be done. So get into it, learn how to do it. If you have any questions or things you want to ask me, or you want to have a chat, then there's going to be a link in the description where you can book a call and we can speak. But thank you for watching. I hope this has been useful, and I'll see you in the next one.